By Andrew Hammond. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe finished his two-day meeting with Donald Trump Wednesday, after another U.S. geopolitical surprise. Trump confirmed that Secretary of State-designate Mike Pompeo had met over Easter with Kim Jong-un, the first such high-level bilateral contact since 2000. The Pompeo-Kim revelation is only the latest occasion in which Abe has been blindsided by Washington in recent weeks. Last month, for instance, he was caught on the hop by the White House's announcement of a potential summit between Kim and Trump. While Abe said Tuesday that the president had shown courage in agreeing to meet Kim, Abe pressed that Trump put on the table the issue of Japanese nationals abducted in the 1970s and 1980s. He also took Japan's broader security interests into account in the meeting. Tokyo remains worried Trump may look to a deal with Kim under which Pyongyang would agree to give up missiles capable of reaching the United States, without eliminating short- and medium-range missiles that threaten Japan. Here he will not have been reassured by Pompeo, who said that Trump would seek an agreement such that the North Korean leadership will step away from its efforts to hold America at risk with nuclear weapons. Abe was also caught unawares last month by Trump's announcement over U.S. trade tariffs, and he is especially concerned to mitigate tensions on the economic front, given Trump's negative comments on the 2016 campaign trail about Japan. While President Trump had warm words for Japan about a new potential bilateral free trade deal Wednesday, he has previously strongly criticized Tokyo for unfair trade practices involving car imports and exports, accused it of using monetary policy to devalue its currency to boost exports, and asserted that the bilateral security relationship had become too one-sided, with Japan needing to undertake more financial burden sharing. For Abe, his meeting at Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida was therefore intended to showcase the enduring strength of U.S.-Japan relations. He sought assurances from Trump that it remains his view that the bond between our two nations and the friendship between our two peoples runs very, very deep. This administration is committed to bringing those ties even closer. Securing these commitments is important for Abe right now, for two reasons. Firstly, his poll ratings have been hit by several domestic scandals over suspected favoritism and cover-ups. This political misfortune, which former Prime Minister Junichiro Koizumi asserts means Abe could resign as soon as June, has come as he had been contemplating a potential new term of office in a September vote, pledging to reboot the economy and bolster defense, and potentially being on a pathway to becoming the nation's longest-serving premier. Aside from North Korea, the key international reason Abe is keen to be close to Trump is Japanese concerns about a rising China in Asia-Pacific. He has particular worries about Beijing's growing influence in the context of the uncertainties that Trump's presidency will bring, including U.S. withdrawal from the Trans-Pacific Partnership (TPP), which is a trade and investment deal originally intended to lock Washington into deeper economic partnerships with traditional U.S. allies in the region. Moreover, there are also continuing tensions in the South China Sea. In this theater, it is not just Japan and the United States, but also other countries such as Malaysia, the Philippines, Vietnam and Brunei, that are in dispute with China in the sea through which some $5 trillion of shipborne trade passes each year. In this fluid geopolitical landscape, Abe is seeking to align his long-standing foreign policy plans around that of Trump's nascent agenda. Thus, in a context whereby Trump appears to want a more internationally assertive Japan, Abe would still like to overturn much of the remaining legal and political underpinning of the country's post-war pacifist security identity so that it can become more externally engaged. One big, specific measure Abe wishes to push for is abolition of Article 9. This is the clause in Japan's post-war constitution which constrains the country's military to a strictly defensive role rather than a conventional army, and has meant that defense spending has most often remained below 1% of GDP. To overturn this, Abe would need not just a two-thirds majority in both chambers of the legislature, but also a simple majority in a national referendum. This could prove a major challenge, especially given his current domestic troubles, given the large body of Japanese public opinion which still values its post-war pacifism in the only country in the world to have ever been attacked with nuclear weapons. Taken overall, the Florida meetings represented Abe's latest move to fortify Japan's long-standing U.S. alliance. With his domestic political standing at a potential tipping point, he doubled down on extracting concessions from Trump, including on North Korea, with only mixed success. Andrew Hammond is an associate at LSE Ideas at the London School of Economics. Contact him at andrewkorea@outlook.com.